Okay, what's up, guys? This is going to be a fast one. I'm going to present my theory as to why we've evolved to have nostalgia in our minds, or why the brain even wants to have nostalgic memories. Nostalgia is a weird one because it's something we look back at and it's like, oh, fun times, the good old days. But it isn't exactly a good feeling. Why is that? I don't know. But there's an association of both. Like, those are the good times with the bad times. And those were the times to the times that were good. Why is that? Why is it that all the times that we thought were terrible in the moment always look way better in hindsight? Now, I'm going to present a quick explanation with AI. So, comparing our mind to a large language model, when you train a large language model, it is set up with all the data, you do all the whatever parameters and stuff, and you come out with a GPT-5 or GPT-4. And all you need to know in that concept is that data goes in, data cuts off. You've trained the model. It no longer needs to feed off of that old data to present the new information or just reinterpolate it to give you a sentence. Now, the human mind, you have data coming in. You have data always coming in. But even if you stop and meditate and the data stops coming in, now your mind chooses to go look back at old memories, old pieces of data, and keeps on changing the structure of the neurons. Now, in your GPT-4 or some large language model, you can actually put it in stone. There's people doing that. They're going on the silicon and actually laser printing with all the whatever chemicals and stuff into the chip itself, the model, the neurons, everything set up in stone. Now, the human mind, your mind, it changes. And it's so strange because you can go look back at these memories. We're going to bring nostalgia in a second and continue to learn from them. You can go find and reinterpolate, extrapolate stories, meaning out of old things in your past. Sigmund Freud is really good at making people think this way, is that you can go back in your childhood and think, why do I think or act the way I do? And it's because something in my childhood caused me to act this way. But going back in the act of looking at that has a better meaning of who you are in this moment by looking at your past. Now, what does this mean? And what can we actually learn and have fun with this and nostalgia's sake? One strange thing is that I think, there's no way to prove this, but the human mind maybe would like to just get better at living. And in order to live longer, do whatever in evolution, you got to be more successful. And maybe just inherently in the mind is to get more data, because with more data, you have a little model training action in your neurons, makes it more likely that you're not going to die. And so perhaps it's just evolved in a way to look back at the times that there's the most neural change. And this is what I'm starting to find in my life, at least. I'm assuming you will relate in some way. Nostalgic times, the times that sucked, or things were different. There was a big change in your life, or you changed in some way. And so there's new neural pathways that were being developed. And when we look back at those times, your brain has an association that there's a lot of change that happened here. And when there's change, there's novelty, and you need to relearn, because if you don't know what's going on, you're going to get eaten by a lion or something. So we'll go look back at these old memories and reinterpolate the meaning, because so much change is happening. We might as well develop and deploy more resources to get as much training out of the data that we had to go through in order to come out on the other side, understanding it and everything in the best possible way. So that is why I believe nostalgia is associated with the bad times. We call them the good old days, but in reality, it's the times that sucked. In my life, I went and ran a 50-miler, took a wrong turn, made it 51 miles when I was only 14 with my dad. And it sucked. Like, you can't run 50 miles and be like, this is like, I was not David Goggins. We still pushed through and made it happen, but it sucked in the moment like a lot. I got to a marathon and I was like, I'm just going to like quit or walk the rest of the way. My dad was like, just walk the rest of the way. And we walked a mile and he's like, okay, I was just kidding. You have to run the rest of the way. And I was like, really, like, this sucks. But I go look back at that and it's like literally the best thing ever. I would not trade it for anything. So perhaps because it was putting my mind through things I've never done before, running for 12 hours straight is not very common in 14-year-olds. And so my mind was like, well, this is new, this is novel. We need to learn and understand, because if we don't, and this happens more often and we don't know what's going on, we're probably going to die. And so even all these years later, like 6 years later, we still look back at those moments to see what lessons could be gained out of them. It's not even something consciously happening, it's just subconsciously. The actions of our past are still affecting the person we are today in both the ways of it got us to where we are, but it's also created the mind, and it is causing our mind to continue to change. So consciousness and the ability to go look back at those old memories in a way to make us better is a fun tool that we should utilize more often. So maybe meditate once in a while. Anyways, have a good one and peace.